Thanks to the support as a channel member, Aiden C97. Well, this is going to be a potentially very different transfer window to any we've done before. We're trying to put together a team capable of getting to the Premier League. And we're doing it with our three best players all already on the transfer list at their own request, with total release clauses of £6.5 million. There's going to be money changing hands this summer. We might even be spending some. Hello and welcome to part 120 of Wembley to Wembley. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it is our season review and transfer special at the end of the 2040-41 season. We're so far in the future on this save. We'll start things off with the season review. Signing of the season has gone to Kamani Dixon. Can't really argue with that. He's formed an excellent partnership at the base of the midfield with Christodoulou. The fact that it wasn't Christodoulou, I guess, is the reason to argue with it. Hayden Castles, Connor McGregor. There's a few boys who are probably going to argue with that. Actually, Tanjo's come in and got 22 goal contributions, but we made a lot of good signings last summer. If we can do this kind of quality of business again this coming summer, that's going to be great, great business. We were supposed to finish bottom. We finished 10th, averaged a home attendance of 5,300, which is 86% of capacity. So we're getting closer to potentially being able to get ourselves a new ground and head back to Wembley. The board love me, as they blooming should. We were in tier 9 when I became manager. Finances all heading in the right direction, including some bigger sponsorship deals. Our club reputation's gone up to 2.5 stars. Sponsorship revenue has doubled, and will double again because we've got a big new deal coming in that's worth double what our previous total was. Broadcast revenue has gone up massively, which does indicate we're not going to get a lump sum at the end of the season, because we've clearly been having it as the season has gone on. But everything's gone up. I mean, as it would when you go to the Championship. Everything heading in the right direction, which has got to be a good thing. This was our team of the year. Slocum in goal, a back four of Berry, Scholes, Rose and Yahaya, and Cather and Christodoulou in midfield, Rodney, Castles and Tanjo behind Howard up front. Looking at that team of the year, obviously Yahaya and Rodney are both loans, so they won't be here. Howard is not good enough for this level, so he needs to be replaced, and we could potentially be losing Rose, Berry and Christodoulou, who are all now on the transfer list at their own request, although we did manage to sneak in a new contract for Christodoulou just before he got officially upset, so his release clause has gone from 3.5 million to 4.9 million. Rose is on a release clause at 550,000, which is devastating for our best defender, and Berry at £1 million. Even if these two don't go for their release clauses this summer, they're out of contract next summer, so they can go for free next year. So there is an argument that we probably try and encourage them to leave this summer, so that we don't risk them going the same way the likes of Bunce are going this summer for free, because they could do pre-contracts with Scottish teams in January, which would be really, really heartbreaking. Awards wise, Gary Rose won Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year. It's why it's going to sting even more if he ends up leaving for almost no money. Fenty got goal of the season. Fair enough. Tanjo, top scorer and most assists. That's quite a good signing. Does kind of justify him forcing Bunce out of the team. And Berry, most man of the matches with only 3, shows how we've not really had a standout superstar player this season, and Rose with the highest average rating at 7. And Joe Westlake set the new club record for highest transfer fee received at just £157,000. I suggest that's going to be a record that is broken again this summer, probably fairly early on in the summer. We know who our all-time best 11 is. We've not really had anyone break. Oh, and Cather's broken into it. I'm being unfair to him, and Cather's now in the all-time best 11, which does seem fair. And now we need to look at these boys, specifically these boys. So he's on the transfer list at his own request. There you go, transfer listed. Gary Rose is transfer listed at his own request and wanted by a lot of clubs. He's almost certainly gone, which is really, really upsetting. Christodoulou, wherever he is. Where is he? Why can't I see him? Oh, there he is, right at the top here. We have managed to increase his release clause, and he's not actually yet requesting a transfer because he's still got a couple of days before he's officially upset. But he's wanted by Burnley, who have just been promoted to the Premier League. So if they come in and offer the 4.9 million, that is his release clause. Obviously, we could do a lot with 4.9 million pounds, so it's not the end of the world. I'd actually be more upset about losing the other two than as much as Christodoulou is our best player. He's all potential at the moment. He did a 6.8. I think we can replace him, These two, a little bit harder to replace. If we look at the promises, that's where, 3 days until Christodoulou requests his transfer. And I've already asked the board if they can do the training facilities, and they said no, because we can't afford it, despite the fact we have had some money come in, but clearly not enough money. They've just given me a flat no. Let's just go nuts on FFP. We've made a profit over the last 3 years. Let's go waste £15 million this summer. Let's get ourselves to the Premier League. That's the dream. I'll be back when the first offer comes in, which probably won't be very long. I now regret everything. If I'd have waited 2 more days to ask the board about the training facilities, we could have done it. Oh well, I guess we'll ask for youth facilities, youth level, and a stadium instead. But that's upsetting. So there was a lump sum of money at the end of the season. Noted for future. What does that do to the projections? We're fine. Look at us. 7 million. We could go and spend 20 million and still be within FFP. Go spend the money. So our Premier League rejects are in, and as already warned in the previous episode, none of them are Christodoulou's or Rose's, unfortunately, this year. We've got Jarrett Donninger, who is a midfielder who's come in from Manchester City. We've got Ross Ackroyd, who's a centre-back in from Manchester City. Liam Harris is a central midfielder in from Manchester United. And Shane O'Brien is a centre-back in from Arsenal. And none of them are ever likely to be good enough to play in the first team. So they're just kind of filling out the reserves and the youth team, I guess, which I suppose is okay because our youth setup is trash. The board have agreed to improve both our youth facilities and youth level. So they're both being worked on over the summer. It's only cost us £500,000 for the two. It shows just how bad our facilities were previously. Our youth level was 0. So it's going up to 1. Come on then. And they rejected the idea of us getting a new stadium because we don't have enough fans, which annoyingly is fair enough. And then we just need to wait to be able to ask about training facilities again. Encouragingly, Christodoulou just accepted that I wasn't able to get the job done. He's disappointed, but not unhappy. I mean, well, okay, he is unhappy, but not unhappy enough to have got on the transfer list, which is nice. These two, pair of rascals, breaking promises. I promised to ask, and I did ask. What more could I do, you bumheads? Right, it's the 11th of June. That defender who we had last season, whose name I can't remember, the old guy, Zach Abbott, he's retired to become the worst scout in football, which is adorable. I can't imagine anyone's going to give him a job. So we're now just waiting for the 1st of July to tip around. We've got loads of spare wage budget, so could probably bring in 3 or 4 first team quality players to complement what we've already got. And if we look at the squad planner, you can see where those players need to come in. We need, at the very least, a good backup goalkeeper. We definitely need an attacking midfielder. We need a right winger. We need a left winger. And we probably need some fullbacks as well. And maybe a centre-back, maybe a mid. There's a lot we need. 3 or 4 permanent, and then 4 or 5 real good quality loans. And we've got a chance for this coming season. That's got to be the plan. That's what we're working towards. So let's try and get that done, shall we? And here we have an example of really annoying things that Football Manager does. Gary Rose is gone to Charlton, who've just been relegated. So rather than play for us and have the potential to at least be the regular starting centre-back in the Championship, push for that Premier League spot, he's decided to drop down to League One and play for Charlton, who we know we're better than. And that is heartbreaking. Release clauses. What you're going to do, I guess. Gary Rose is a League One player, and I'm disgusted by it. But the one advantage of smashing our outgoing transfer record to sell Rose for £500,000 is we can smash our incoming transfer record as well to bring this guy in, Daniel Brown, a 21-year-old central midfielder, a natural defensive midfielder or centre mid. We'll obviously play him in one of those defensive midfield roles. I mean, he's the perfect replacement for Christodoulou if we lose him, or he can complement and work alongside him. if he stays. 3.5 stars of current ability, 5 stars of potential. He comes in from Stoke for £185,000. That's the move players are supposed to make from League One to the Championship, not the other way around. And we've got some value there as well. So pretty happy to have Daniel Brown in at the club. Didn't he write the Da Vinci Code? Scott Day. I am not amused. We could have kept Rose. Oh, what a good idea. Yeah, let's improve the training facilities. Why didn't I think of that? Absolutely absurd. You can tell we mean business this summer. We've snuck a couple more in before we start with the free transfers. Ruben Brammer is our new backup goalkeeper. Yeah, we've spent £50,000 on him, which makes him the second most expensive player in our history. But he's a proper backup goalkeeper, so hopefully we won't have a no strength in depth in goal player mutiny this year. And we've also signed this guy on a free transfer from Portsmouth. He's a player we've had an eye on for a while. Rory Murray, Northern Irish international striker, 4 caps for Northern Ireland at 24 years old already. He's 6 feet tall with 15 acceleration and 14 pace. I know you lot aren't going to like his finishing. I don't care. I think this is my 20 goal a season striker that I've been looking for. And I mean, he's not really proven it for Portsmouth. Although, to be fair, 4 goals from only 1 start with Portsmouth. They've not been using him. He's going to come in and be our main man at Brentford. Unless we somehow manage to find somebody even better, this could be the best striker we've ever had in our history. It probably, I mean, attribute-wise, this is the best striker we've ever had in our history. And very excited to have him in. There's Bunce confirming he's completed his move to St Mirren, which still annoys me, not quite as much as the Rose situation. We've also let some contracts expire. So Swaby, Squire, Whitmore, Regan, Shehu have all left the club. They were all fringe players last year. What on earth? Who, what? I don't understand how our committed spending is there. Oh, because we're currently... How are we currently spending that? Oh, we just had a load of pay rises. I might have had a load of players on annual pay rises. That's not ideal at all. Yeah. Oh. Oh, dear. Oh, yes. Oh, dear. Oh, dear me. Some mistakes have been made here. There's some rather large pay rises have just gone through. Okay. Does anyone want to sign Berry? Oh. Well, we're not going to be able to sign anyone else. So that's a situation. I mean, we could potentially do that. Which gets us... Oh, this is not ideal at all. So the squad as it currently stands, a long way from finished. Obviously, we've got 3 goalkeepers. That's nice. Berry's probably going to leave. We don't really have a backup. At right back, we have Palmer, who's not really good enough. At centre back, we're a man down. McBride and Salucci are probably our starters for next season. Maybe Scholes, but we definitely need at least one more. The midfield's looking good with Brown, Christodoulou, Dixon. I'm very happy with all of them. Probably going to let Nkatha and Holder leave. We do need another attacking midfielder because I guess Castles is probably our only one now. On the right, we've got decent strength in depth, just like we have on the left. And also, ironically, up front, we're looking pretty strong as well. I'm very excited to see that value on Tashan Septus, who's had a decent season out on loan at Hartlepool. I mean, if anyone wants to give me £6 million for him, I'll reluctantly accept it and rebuild the entire squad. But, yeah, that's not ideal at all. We need to sell some players. Right, it's slow progress. But with my very best wheeler dealing hat on, I think we are getting somewhere. We've temporarily loaned out Salucci. I think he probably is my first reserve centre-back for this coming season, but we needed to get his wages out of the way just to help with the wheeler dealing. We'll pull him back before the window closes. Dylan Gray's gone out on loan as well. We've sold Nkatha. He was out of contract at the end of the season and probably wasn't going to get a new contract. I know he played in every game we played last season, either from the start or off the bench, but we improved. We brought in the new guy to play central midfield, Brown. So I think we could probably let Nkatha go. Adam Duffy has gone out on loan because he's on an incredible amount of money and couldn't be guaranteed a start. So he's gone on loan for Carlisle. They're paying all of his wages. Doncaster paying all of Ronald Holder's wages. And Max Howard has been sold to Macclesfield down in League One. 11 goals was fine, but not good enough. We've signed a new striker. He was on £5,000 a week. Get him gone. So in addition to Brammett and Murray, who were already in, we've signed Liam Lambert, who the main attraction of him was that he's cheap, only £2,000 a week, 28-year-old attacking midfielder, can compete with Castles, was playing as a reserve at Stoke and Walsall previously. I think he's fine, probably not going to be a nailed-on starter, but exactly the kind of squad player we needed. And this is our Rose replacement, Will Kennedy, 25-year-old, former England under-19 international. As a centre-back, I am concerned that he's only 5'10", but if we partner him with McBride, they've got an average height of like 6'3" between them. 3.5 stars of current ability, 4 stars of potential. So he's the best centre back at the club. Played a full season for Rotherham in our league last year, so championship experience. And on a free transfer, that seemed like a sensible piece of business. Less sensible pieces of business. This is bonkers. Dan Berry has a release clause of £1 million, but only for clubs in a higher division. I'd kind of resigned myself that he was going to leave for £1 million or let his contract run down and leave for nothing. But then Barnsley have just come in and offered this for him. How do I not accept? 1.9 million up front, another nearly 2 million on instalments, plus a 30% sell on. It's a huge transfer. Yes, we don't have another left back, but he's leaving for free next year. We are, 5 months away from him being able to sign a pre-contract with St Mirren and leave for nothing. So, yeah, we're accepting a nearly £4 million deal. Just need to hope the buffoon goes now. And that is then going to give us a very interesting second half of the window, because we get nearly half of that to go and spend. So £1 million right now, plus another £1 million over the course of the next year. And that's just for spensies. We can bump a load of that into wage budget and still have some money to go out and sign some players as well. There's definitely areas of the squad that need to be improved. I think we're very light out wide, both in attack and defence. We need fullbacks, we need wingers, and we probably need some strength in depth up front. There's a lot of pressure being piled on Tashan Septus, who has never been a proven goal scorer at this level, but might be. I mean, he might be the guy. And Fraser Fenty, who again, very much not a goal scorer at this level. So we could probably do with another striker as well. We've not started exploring loans yet either. So there is still business to be done. We are now just waiting for Berry to leave. If he stalls this, if he takes his time walking out the door, it is going to leave us with a lot to do going into that first game of the season against Watford, which is only 13 days away, and we're not currently close to a full squad. So I really need Berry to hurry up and leave, please. In other news, we did this last year. We're going to do it again now, because based on these normal rewards, transfer budget 5.75 million. Put it to low, that gets us up to 875,000. It was 1,000, not million. But that, before Berry's even gone, means we can now do that. We're rolling again, boys and girls. Let's go find some more freebies. My other concern with Berry, and why I really want him to leave quickly, I don't think there's going to be Premier League clubs coming in for him, but a Premier League club could just swoop in and take him for £1 million. Anyone who's bargain hunting, take him for £1 million and then immediately sell him on to someone else for 3.5. Because why not? I don't think that happens in Football Manager, but it could. There we go. I promised you fireworks this summer, and that is the biggest transfer in the history of this football club by a gazillion miles. Dan Berry is now a Barnsley player, £2.9 million, rising potentially to 3.7 million for a young lad we brought in on a free transfer and didn't even use first season. We loaned him out to Gillingham in the National League, but he has become a key player in the team. That's annoying that we have to give Manchester City a bunch of it as well, because he came through their youth system. But importantly, it means that we've got £750,000 to spend, even with the wage budget being increased. And that committed spending is for some loans. We've already got our replacement left back in. Alex Saltmer is on loan from Sheffield Wednesday until the end of the season. So he comes in at left back. We're also trying to bring in a centre back, a left winger, and like a creative second striker who can play in behind the striker in that number 10 role, or as a backup striker as well. We probably still need a right back, and obviously we've now got a little bit more money to spend as well, which we can't adjust until those loans are in. But once those boys are in, we are starting to look like a pretty decent championship squad, The media probably disagree. Yep, they still think we're going to finish rock bottom. Balls to the media. That's what I say. Let's continue building our promotion squad. Well, rather frustratingly, most of those loans turned us down. We already had Saltmer before. We managed to get Adam Green, who is a centre-back, arguably one that we didn't really need, because we've also recalled LOLLUJO from his loan, and we have a lot of centre-backs now. I'd be willing to accept offers for Seb Scholes. The only problem is his value's so high. We did offer him out. He kicked off. He's still the club captain. We've said, oh, sorry, that was a mistake. We won't offer you out again, and have had to take him off the transfer list just to avoid him leading a mutiny. But he is a team leader and club captain. We have to be very careful how we force him out, i.e. probably shouldn't force him out. But with the Berry money, there's still loads of money knocking around. We're now trying to bring in a right winger, if I can find him. That guy from Derby. So he might well be coming in. But if you look at the team for the first day of the season, we definitely need a new right back. We definitely need a new left winger. So there's still work to be done. I think I'm going to do this transfer window a little bit differently because we're still so deep in it. And I'm just going to play the matches off camera while I continue through to the end of the window. So I'll keep you up to date with what's going on, but we're going to go all the way through to transfer deadline day on this video, because why not? Well, overall, I think we'll call that a pretty good start to the season. Just the one defeat, couple of draws in there as well, but on the whole, playing quite well. There's a name in there you might not have expected to see. Adam Duffy came back. We just didn't have anybody who could play on that left-hand side, so we've recalled him from his loan after falling out with him last year because Rodney took his spot. He's come back and he's been incredible. 5 goal contributions in 5 matches. He's won Championship Goal of the Month. He's averaging a 7.16. Should probably take him off the surplus to requirements list at some point, but at the moment he can stay on this. We might be about to bring somebody in over the top of him. Bert McCormick is one of the loans that we wanted to bring in, who decided instead to go on loan somewhere else. We've now had an offer accepted by Leicester to sign him permanently, so we're trying to bring him in as our new left winger. We've got a striker that we're trying to bring in, Alex Ball, who's valued at an extraordinary nearly £10 million with Bristol City, who are a Premier League team. He was out on loan at Rochdale last year. I can only hope he was playing on the wing, because we're bringing him in to be a rotation striker, because one thing I have kind of decided in these opening matches is maybe Rory Murray is not the great striker hope that I was hoping him to be, and we are just still really struggling for a proper centre forward. Fraser Fenty has scored more goals than Murray, although a couple of them were off the bench in the cup. Septis wants to go out on loan, so he's not going to be the answer. It might be that Tanjo ends up playing up front, because he's kind of been replaced on the right hand side by Toby Gardner, who's in on loan for the season from Derby and looks very good. So maybe Tanjo becomes a striker, but I'd definitely like to get through today's transfer deadline day and maybe bring in another striker. We did bring a right back in as well, Jordan Di Girolamo from Sheffield Wednesday on loan for the season. He's not exactly inspiring me with confidence either, but there is a little bit of cash. There's no cash. There's, we're going to try. I'd really like a striker. Oh, and the other thing, probably even more important than all of that, Chris Delulu's no longer upset, so we've given him another new contract, his second of the video, and removed all release clauses now. So he's ours forever and nobody can ever take him from me. Let's have fun on deadline day. We had no fun on transfer deadline day because we didn't have any money. All we really did in the end is loan out 2 more players. So Septus and Carroll have both gone to Cambridge for the season. Cambridge down in League 2, where they belong, quite frankly. And we're still slightly over our wage budget. I've completely miscalculated how much money I actually thought we had left. Good to see as well, we're still paying way below everybody else in the league when it comes to wages, despite the fact it feels like we're spending an absolute fortune. It's going to be a challenging one, but as you can see, 6 games in, we're 5th in the league, so we're up for the challenge. It would have been nice for them to give me a bit of this to spend, but alas, was not to be. And now I guess we just need to keep this run of form going and hope somebody starts scoring some goals, because that's my big concern. We just don't have a striker, unless Murray comes good, which he should. I don't really get why he's not working. Give him time. It'll be fine. Right. We are going to get through some matches now. And the next episode will come back probably sometime around November time. And you can actually see us play for the first time this season with this new-ish look team that is it's a good side. These are good boys. But if you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.